Usually when we talk about a medical diagnosis, there's this expectation of precision.
Right, like it's completely binary.
Exactly, like engineering. You break your arm, the X-ray shows that jagged white line, and the doctor just points and says, well, there it is. That's the problem.
Broken or not broken. Simple as that.
Right. We like things to be visible like that. We want to know exactly what we're fighting against. But when you step into the world of stress or, trying to figure out why we are so unhappy or overwhelmed, that X-ray machine is just useless.
Yeah, the diagnostic landscape is entirely murky.
Exactly. And that is exactly why we're jumping into a really fascinating stack of notes today for this deep dive. They're from a piece called The Architecture of Mindful Mastery.
It's a great piece.
It really is. And the mission for this deep dive is to unpack a bold, honestly, potentially life-altering premise in these pages. It's the idea that we are entirely responsible for our own suffering.
Which is, a tough pill to swallow.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the central thesis here is that your biggest enemy isn't the external world. It is your own thinking.
And that sounds simple on the surface, but the implications are massive. It's one thing to acknowledge that life is hard, right? But this text makes a very specific mechanical assertion.
Right.
It argues that we actively manufacture stress and drama and, problems that literally did not exist in objective reality.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we create these phantom enemies and then just exhaust ourselves going to war with them.
Man, yeah. The text points to this three-step cycle of self-sabotage that drives this whole machine. It says we overthink, we assume, and we react too fast.
The big three.
Yeah, but I actually want to pause right there and push back on this a little bit. Like, as someone reading this, I have to ask, isn't life actually genuinely complicated sometimes?
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Like, if someone gets laid off or gets a terrifying medical diagnosis or is dealing with a super toxic work environment, that isn't a phantom enemy.
No, not at all.
That is genuinely, objectively complicated. So, is the text really suggesting that's all just in our heads?
Well, no, and it's a crucial distinction to make. The text isn't denying that objective, difficult events happen. It's not saying the fire isn't real.
Okay, good. That's a relief.
Right. What it is analyzing is the secondary layer of suffering, the sheer complexity and agonizing weight that we add to those events.
Ah, the added weight.
Exactly. The assumption of malicious intent or the instant spiraling into worst-case scenarios, the immediate panic, that specific complication is injected entirely by your mindset.
I see.
The text actually states that life isn't as complicated as we make it. Our mindset makes it that way.
So it's really about the distortion of the raw data.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, imagine you're walking through a carnival and you step in front of one of those funhouse mirrors.
Oh, I hate those.
Right. You see this terrifying, distorted, monstrous version of yourself. The mirror takes a normal, neutral situation and just twists it.
That's a really great way to look at it.
So our mindset is that mirror, but it's warped by our own past failures or our insecurities or maybe just the fact that we, haven't slept well.
Yeah, totally.
We take a neutral data point, like, say, a boss sending an email that just says, let's chat at 3 p.m.
Oh, man, the most terrifying email you can get.
Right. But it's neutral. And the warped mirror turns it into, I'm getting fired and I'll lose my house.
And if we look at why the brain actually does that, it makes perfect sense from an evolutionary standpoint.
Wait, really? How so?
Well, our brains have a deeply wired threat detection system designed to keep us alive in the wild. If you're walking through the jungle and you see a shadow, the brain that assumes it is a tiger survives.
Oh, right. Because you run away.
Exactly. The
Wait.
brain that assumes it's just a funny-shaped leaf gets eaten. We are wired to catastrophize to protect ourselves.
Better safe than sorry.
Exactly. The problem is your brain is applying a life-or-death survival mechanism to a Slack message.
We jump straight to the conclusion that the shadow is a monster.
Oh.
And the text offers a really stark warning about this. It says, when you jump to conclusions, you suffer. Period. It's an unforced error.
An unforced error.
You are actively choosing to step in front of that funhouse mirror rather than just looking at the raw data.
And that internal mechanism, that misfiring threat response, it has profound external consequences. The source material outlines the collateral damage of this distortion.
It frames them as hard truths, right?
Yes, these hard truths. And the first one is brutal. It says, when you let emotions control you, you lose.
And that feels absolute. Not you might struggle, but you lose.
Right. It's a guarantee.
And it follows that up with another hard truth that really caught my attention. It says emotional reactions create permanent damage from temporary feelings.
Yeah, think about the metabolism of an emotion. A surge of anger or panic is chemically designed to be a temporary state. It washes over you and then it just dissipates.
Like a wave.
Exactly like a wave. But because we react too fast, we take a feeling that would have lasted maybe 20 minutes, and we use it to make a decision with a 10-year consequence.
Oh, wow. That is terrifying.
It is. You feel a flash of defensive anger during a meeting, you snap at a colleague, and you permanently fracture that professional relationship.
And the anger is gone by lunch.
Gone by lunch, but the damage to your reputation is forever.
The feeling was temporary, but the crater it left behind is permanent.
Hmm.
And, here's where it gets really interesting. There's another piece of collateral damage the text highlights.
Oh, the one about failure.
Yes, overthinking destroys more opportunities than failure does.
What is fascinating here is the ultimate tragic irony of this entire cycle.
How do you mean?
Well, why do we overthink? We do it because we are desperately trying to avoid failure.
Right, we want to be safe.
We try to map out every single variable, every potential pitfall to keep ourselves perfectly safe. But the text argues that this paralyzing overanalysis becomes the exact mechanism that destroys the opportunity.
It's like you're driving down the highway, right?
Okay.
And you see a dark patch on the road ahead.
What?
Because you're in this hyper-vigilant overthinking state, your brain screams, massive pothole.
Panic mode kicks in.
Instant panic mode.
Yeah.
You violently jerk the steering wheel to avoid it, and you swerve your car straight into a brick wall. The dark patch was just a shadow from a cloud.
Just a shadow.
In your desperate attempt to avoid a minor bump, your reaction caused a catastrophic wreck.
That is a perfect analogy. And if we apply that to the concept of failure versus opportunities, failure is just hitting the bump.
Right.
If you launch the product or ask for the promotion or start the business and it fails, you gain data, you learn.
You survived the bump.
You survived. But if you overthink, you never even put the key in the ignition. You destroy the opportunity in the laboratory of your own mind before it ever reaches the real world. Overthinking is a permanent zero.
So if this instinct to overreact and overthink is so deeply wired into us, I mean, if we are biologically predisposed to swerve at shadows, how do we actually hit the brakes before we crash the car?
We have to have a method.
Right, because understanding the problem is one thing, but the text has to offer a way out of the funhouse.
It does through what it calls a power moves playbook.
Power moves, I like that.
It's a set of tactical solutions designed to interrupt that cycle. The core directives are to pause, think clearly, and choose understanding over reaction.
Pause and think.
It says you must master your thoughts before they master you. Stop assuming, start understanding.
Control your emotions or they'll control your life.
Exactly. Stay calm under pressure, that is real power, and choose peace over chaos, always.
It also adds a final hard truth to that playbook. Not every thought deserves your attention.
That is a huge one, really foundational.
But practically speaking, I want to dig into how someone actually executes this. Like, how do you choose peace over chaos in the heat of the moment?
It is tough.
Because when your heart is racing, when the threat detection system is firing on all cylinders, telling yourself to just be calm is like trying to put out a house fire with a water pistol.
Right, stay calm isn't an actionable strategy on its own. The actual strategy, the mechanism that makes these power moves work, is the pause.
The pause.
It is the literal insertion of time between the stimulus and your response.
I was trying to conceptualize what it actually feels like to realize that not every thought deserves your attention.
What did you come up with?
Well, I keep picturing passing thoughts like annoying pop-up ads on a computer screen.
Oh, I love that. Walk through that. How does the pop-up ad function in this context?
So think about when you're reading an article online and suddenly a bright red pop-up appears, flashing, your computer is infected. Click here now to fix it.
Ugh, the worst.
It is completely designed to trigger an immediate emotional reaction, panic. And if you let that emotion control you, you click the ad, and ironically, by clicking it, you download the actual virus.
You create the permanent damage.
Exactly, you create the permanent damage. But if you remember that you are the user and the ad is just a piece of intrusive code, you realize you don't have to engage with it.
You don't have to click.
You don't have to click. You have the power to just move your mouse, click the little X in the corner, close the window, and go back to reading your article.
The thought is the ad. You are the user. That is a vital distinction because we often mistake our thoughts for undeniable facts.
Like we have to interact with them.
Right. We think, I had the thought, therefore it must be reality. But the pop-up ad isn't reality. It's just an aggressive suggestion.
Just a suggestion.
Real power, according to the text, is staying calm under pressure. And in practical terms, real power is having that chaotic pop-up flash in your brain, a sudden thought of deep insecurity or a flash of rage toward a partner, and having the self-mastery to just observe it.
Just look at it.
To say, wow, that's a really intense thought, and then deliberately click the X.
You don't negotiate with the pop-up ad. You don't argue with it. You just close it.
And that goes back to the pause. The pause is the moment you move the mouse toward the X.
Give me an example in real life.
Let's say you receive a vague late Friday email from a client saying, we need to talk about the deliverables.
Oh man, immediate panic, weekend ruined.
Right. The immediate physiological reaction is a spike in cortisol. The funhouse mirror says, they hate the work, we're losing the contract.
And the knee-jerk reaction is to immediately fire back a defensive 5-paragraph email justifying everything you did.
Which is exactly how you create the permanent damage.
Right.
Exactly. But if you apply the playbook, you pause. You recognize the threat detection system is firing. You look at the thought, I'm losing this client, and recognize it as a pop-up ad.
You choose understanding over reaction.
Yes. You wait until Monday.
Yeah.
You have the call. And 9 times out of 10, they just wanted to ask a formatting question.
Wow. By mastering that single moment, you prevented the car crash.
You did.
You gave yourself the space to evaluate whether the threat was real or a shadow. And moving from that tactical application, the text zooms out to look at what happens when you string enough of these pauses together.
It builds up over time.
Yeah, it's not just a neat trick to lower your blood pressure during a stressful email. The source argues this creates a fundamental structural change in how life is experienced. The equation it gives is really simple. Clear thinking equals better decisions, which equals a better life.
It is a strict causal chain.
Yeah.
If you are constantly reacting out of emotion, you are making poor decisions. Poor decisions inherently compound into a difficult life. You cannot bypass the clear thinking to get to the better life.
So what does this all mean? That brings us to the climax of the source notes, what they specifically label the mic drop core message.
The big reveal.
Here it is. Your life doesn't change when situations change. It changes when your mindset does.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the thesis statement of the entire text. And it completely upends how most of us operate.
It really does. I mean, we spend so much of our energy banking on the if-then fallacy.
Oh, constantly.
If I just got a different job, then my life would be less stressful. If I just lived in a nicer city, if I just made $10,000 more a year, then I would have peace.
We place the burden of our happiness entirely on external situations magically aligning.
But this quote completely strips that excuse away. It takes the burden off the world. But in doing so, it puts the power entirely back in your hands.
It redefines what a life change actually is. We are culturally conditioned to believe that a life change is geographical or financial.
New zip code.
A new zip code, a new tax bracket, a new relationship. But those are just changes in your environment. If you take a reactive, catastrophizing, funhouse mirror mindset with you to a brand new city, you will manufacture the exact same stress, the exact same drama, and the exact same non-existent problems in that new location.
You just pack the funhouse mirror in your suitcase and set it up in your new apartment.
Exactly. The players change, but the script is exactly the same because you are the one writing it.
Man. Which is why the geographical cure never works.
Never. The text is making the case that a true life change is strictly internal. It is the shift from a reactive, assumption-based mindset to a clear, understanding one.
Because when your mindset changes, even if your external situation remains absolutely identical,
Same job, same city.
same income, your reality is completely transformed. You are no longer bleeding energy fighting phantom enemies.
That is the only change that actually alters your day-to-day experience of being alive.
Which means the keys to the kingdom aren't hidden behind a promotion or a lottery win. They are literally already in your possession. You don't need the world to change to start experiencing a better life. You just need to start closing the pop-up ads.
You regain the energy you used to waste on overthinking, and you can apply it to actual tangible opportunities.
So as we wrap up this custom deep dive, let's look at the arc of what we've unpacked from these notes.
We've covered a lot.
We started by identifying the uncomfortable reality